Welcome into Why So Cities. We're here to talk some comics with you. And we got a special guest, Brandon, from the Hall of Nerds. He is at the Cosmic Collector, one of the most prominent dudes in the online comic community. So, very honored to have you on, sir. And I'm excited to talk comics with you.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, one of the things that you're doing lately that I just found out is trying to get a comic released. And I'm super curious about so much, like what made, of course, what made you want to do that, but the writing process. How did you find an artist? How did you get it on to receive funding? Everything about that. So how did that all go?
Luke, the artist that I'm working with, he had did a little short comic with a buddy of mine named Peyton. It was just like a little 6-page Batman and Robin fan comic. And I saw it and I was like, oh, dude, I want to do a fan comic. So I reached out to him and we started working on this like Grifter, Zealot, like Wildcats little issue. And while we were working on that, I was posting pages that Luke was drawing. And that's when Paul, the creator and founder of Project Analysis, which is its own like comic book universe, he reached out to me because he liked what he saw. And he was like, I have a couple different characters in my universe that I want to kind of branch out and get stories for. I'd love to see if you wanted to write one. If you give me a pitch and we'll see what we can do. So I went through the characters. I settled on Hybrid, which is a very like Punisher-esque character. In Project Analysis, he has the serum that kind of makes him heal. And when he gets damaged, he gets stronger. And so I picked him. I sent out the pitch to Paul and he loved it. And then, the writing process began. It took about 2-ish months to get that first issue down. It was about 53 pages. It started about 60 and we had to cut it down because I write way more than I need to. And then, Luke started Lines and Inks in December and we just finished Lines and Inks a week ago. And so we launched with colors. And now we're in that coloring process, letters, and then we'll publish probably by June. So I'm super excited.
Nice. Okay, so did you write a bunch of it without the images, or did you like kind of square out some images on paper and get a general idea of what the dialogue you were writing would be? What kind of paneling and art it would be behind.
For this one, I just wrote it all out, and I just mentally visualized what the panels would be. And then I kind of trusted Luke with the rest to kind of take what I was thinking and turn it into a cohesive page, which he did beautifully. When I've worked on stuff in the past, I've sat there with pieces of paper and I've drawn out the panels, like rough sketches, because I'm not an artist. But this time I kind of challenged myself to, just do it from the mind. And it worked out really well because Luke was able to translate it perfectly.
How much coordination was there between you and Luke? Or did you just hand him your writing and let him cook?
Oh, a lot. I mean, me and Luke text like every day, which I didn't know until I started doing this isn't normal between writers and artists. Usually they just like, email a couple times and then that's it. Part of my, we laugh about it because one of my notes, I had this really complicated page I was thinking about and it was hard for me to describe it. So I literally wrote in parentheses, call me for notes. And that's exactly what he did when he got to the page. He just rung me up and we talked about it for a bit. It's cool being able to like communicate with him and, talk through ideas. It makes it a lot easier.
For sure.
Yeah.
And when I go pick up a copy, how does it work when does it need to reach a certain amount of funding for the physical to get printed, or are the physicals being shipped out?
So Kickstarter, to publish the book, our goal was 4K. That's just to get it published and send it to everyone who backed. We hit 4K within the first 16 minutes of launch.
Yeah.
It was insane. I was like freaking out. I was on live stream when it happened. And then by the end of that stream, I think we were at 8K, 24 hours, we were at 12. Now in 4 days, we're at 17,500, I think, which is insane and way more than I expected. So basically if you backed it, whatever cover or card or wherever you backed, once we start publishing and sending them out, they'll just ship out to you. They'll be in a couple select shops near me just because I want to, have them in my local community. But they won't be in every comic book shop, unfortunately.
Right on. So for those who would want to write comics, is Kickstarter the place to go? And can you just put your stuff on there for free, or?
I'm not sure. So Paul handled a lot of he's done like 13 or so Kickstarters prior for all of his other stuff that he's done through
Gotcha.
Project Analysis. So he handled a lot of the setup and the shipping and the figure out the tiers and the brackets. And it's way more complicated to me as someone who's not very technologically like savvy. So I've seen a lot of people use it though. So it probably is the best place to go to get your like comic funded if that's what you wanted to do.
For sure. And remind us the title. Y'all go check this out. Go support a local comic collector. And yeah,
Yes,
some indie comic stories.
it's hybrid number one by me with art from Luke Dockery. So I'm very excited.
Right on.
I just got the ash can in the mail last night. It's so cool.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's just the first 20 pages, uncolored, unlettered, but it's amazing.
So cool.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard it would be to try to write a comic for Marvel or DC?
I don't know. I hope one day to find out though.
Right.
I'd love to give it a shot.
And sorry, one last question. Do you have a background in writing?
Yes and no. I went to college for film. And when I was in film school, a lot of people were like wanted to do the acting or the sets or the camera or the directing. I just spent all my time writing scripts. That was all I did.
Cool. Yeah.
I've been a writer since I was younger, and I just love writing. So transitioning from film writing to comic writing was definitely a weird switch because it's completely different formats. But I feel like it helps that I read a lot of comic books.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, so I kind of know the ins and outs.
Right. And because like when I first started reading it, I'm like, how are they going to make it? Like, I didn't understand the difference between the inner dialogue, and the outer dialogue that they're actually speaking in the moment. And that kind of opens the door for more storytelling. So it's not just pictures and letters. And they do a way better job at that than I expected before I started reading comics. So reading comics, you can get an idea of that kind of stuff, inner monologue, or inner dialogue, and talking to people, all that stuff.
And for me, my problem was like I said before, writing too much. It was supposed to be like 20 to 30 pages for a normal issue. The first draft I sent through was like 60. But Paul was like, you have to get it down. So we ended up getting it down to about 53 pages. So it's a pretty thick book. So a lot of story in there, a lot of action.
Then you could just release your Snyder cuts after the full. But that's really cool, dude. Congratulations.
Thank you so
it's
much.
Been so cool watching you grow since ever since I followed you, you were already doing really well, but just continuing to grow, man. A lot of cool stuff and great content. Go follow the Cosmic Collector and his crew, the Hall of Nerds, all good comic stuff. So now let's switch gears to some nerdier questions, but sticking basically like, what if we wrote a Marvel or DC comic? But what if you were the head of Marvel or DC Comics? I'm wondering what you would do differently that you could see to make either franchise better. What kind of things you would do to change?
Yeah, as someone who's very strictly DC Comics, I don't have a lot of takes on what Marvel can do. One thing that I wouldn't have done was in the Ultimate Universe. It was doing so well. They were ramping up to get even better, and then now they're ending it, which sucks. DC, there's a lot of things that I would definitely do. I'd give Red Hood a good creative team. I'd give Wonder Woman a different writer. I would greenlight some ongoings for Black comic book characters because DC hasn't had one in over 1,100 days.
John Stewart, why doesn't that dude have a solo series?
It's ridiculous. Black Lightning, Mr. Terrific. There's so many options of great characters that could have a series, especially when you're giving characters like Jonah Hex a series. Like you can give these other prominent character series. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely do that. I would love to see the Bat family explored more than just Batman and Nightwing. Like I think we can do more stuff with Red Hood, more stuff with Batgirl, which they are doing now with the Breakout thing. Tim Drake deserves way more spotlight. I think the first steps would be switching Wonder Woman writer and making a Red Hood series that'll actually be good.
Is Tom King still on Wonder Woman or no?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that kind of fell off. I read trades and I've only got volume 1, which is issues 1 through 6, which I thought it started off really strong, but it just dipped apparently. No one likes it.
Yeah. I was actually in the same boat. I thought the first little bit I was in it, I was a huge fan of the Sovereign, but I was still like captivated by the art and everything. And then it just like nosedived really. sense.
Yeah. I liked the ramifications of American politics and Themyscirian society. I think that was the kind of they've done it a little bit, but I think focusing a whole story on that was pretty fun. Wonder Woman could be a super badass if she's just fighting American soldiers and just all the political ramifications. But anyway, and Tim Drake too. I kind of think Tim Drake's doing better lately. With the last 3-4 years, maybe there's some comics where he's shining a little bit. I think of Tinian's Detective Rebirth era.
Yes.
Tim Drake. That's my favorite Tim Drake stuff, probably.
I love
Yeah.
Tynion. His Detective Comics is my favorite Detective Comics run. It's so good.
Yeah.
Um,
So good. Okay, so what I would do, more general ideas. I really wish they would go back to the like committing to the numerical system. Like I mean, how many Batman number 4s do we have now? I kind of wish all issues just kept going. We'd be in the thousands. But the issues itself would have a certain kind of sacred number for itself. Whereas, there's 40 or 50 different Batman number 1s or Amazing Spider-Man number 20s. And I think that would be really cool. That way, like when whether you have an omnibus or a trade or whatever different kind of collections you have, like the issue will always be just the right issue. So when I say Batman 2005, like it's just so easy to call back to instead of Batman number 900. Oh, okay, which one was that? Paul Dini? Was that who? You know what I mean? So that would be really cool. Another thing, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say the only problem with DC with that is the New 52 like completely interrupted it and started the universe over. So it's like they had to do number 1 there, and they at least still put the legacy numbers on the covers, which is cool. But I agree it would be better if we didn't like restart every 15-20 issues like Marvel does every 10 issues.
Yeah, and I mean they both do it. I think we have All In, we had Rebirth, New 52, and then there was the one before All In. So many like reboots and switching up the status quo. I really wish they would commit to a long story, like we're gonna move towards a climax. Each writer has its own creative freedom to make their stories for their characters. But we did have a writer's room where all my writers can at least see the end game here. So we're not going to reboot every time, but we are going to build to an event. And each writer wouldn't have to like, you don't want a bunch of different comics just telling one big story. They have to have their own individual identity. But I do miss the events of like maybe the earlier 2000s where the events felt like they meant something and they did bleed into other events and it changed the status quo. Even if you go into your individual titles, I'm thinking of like your Civil War and your Secret Invasion. Pretty solid events, but the way that it affected the Marvel Universe as a whole, I think was really cool. I think events should do that, but there's so many events that don't mean anything.
Yeah.
There's event after event that's just like doesn't have ramifications, and they're small. They're 6-issue events. I miss the old like 12-issue big thick events, so you can get this full big rich story. So do something like that. And then writers being on a character for a longer period of time. I feel like writers are switching up too much, especially with like a Jonathan Hickman who thrives in the long game. You put this dude on this imperial cosmic reboot for Marvel, and then he gets off of it real soon. Ultimate Spider-Man, 25 issues maxed out. And Hickman is always so good at building issue after issue, a couple dozen issues, and to a really solid, satisfying climax. So writers like that really don't get a chance to shine and, bring a long game creative flow to their storytelling because we keep switching writers.
I agree. Yeah. Giving people more time.
Yeah. Less events and more impactful events. All right, cool. So one more weird question. If you could go back in time just to take a writer of any comic that you choose and replace him or her with a comic book writer of your choice, what would you choose?
Back in time. I don't want to take the obvious answer and just replace Tom King's Wonder Woman right now, just because that's like kind of current. I kind of want to go a little bit further back. Think of something. You know what? If I could replace the Frank Miller on All-Star Batman and Robin with someone like Scott Snyder. Yeah, with like Scott Snyder or like really just anyone, it would have been 10 times better. Maybe Mark Waid. That would have been cool. especially after
Yeah.
his Batman and Robin Year One stuff.
Right.
With
He did
Jim
a
Lee's
couple of
art,
them.
just been perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Back then, I feel like people, if you, after his work that was so popular back then, hearing that Jim Lee and Frank Miller were going to duo a Batman and Robin comic, I would have been so excited for that. But he just, I don't know how he dropped the ball so bad. It was
Yeah.
awful. Like the writing was the worst writing I've ever read. Like, how do you go from, I'm kind of like you where I don't think The Dark Knight Returns is as good as everyone says, but I still like Year One a lot. And I mean, All Star Batman is on a completely different, lower just level that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel like the same writer.
I don't like it at all. Yeah, it's not even just like the actual like writing itself. It's the mischaracterizations of Batman. Like in no alternate universe is making Robin eat a rat in the Batcave a good idea for a
So
Batman.
stupid.
Calling him the R word, slapping him, and like telling him he just got drafted into a war while holding him up by the shirt after his parents were just killed. The only
It's
good
not
issue of that
Batman.
entire thing was the one where they painted the room yellow just to bully Hal Jordan. That was the only
That's
good part
funny.
of it, and it's just because it's funny.
Yeah. I just got keeping Hickman on the Krakoan X-Men because I kind of called back to that before, but whoever took up X-Men, it was Gary Duggan, I think,
Yeah.
after Hickman left off. Just give it back to Hickman. I really, really wish he saw the Krakoan age to its completion. Because, like I said, he's a long game guy. That climax was going to be epic, and it was already everything he did was so cool. The House of X, Powers of X. You probably don't read a lot of this stuff because only DC. Gotcha, for sure. And Hickman doesn't go to DC, does he?
No, I think Marvel's holding Hickman back. He should come over to DC and do
Yeah.
Green Lantern. Let him have the Green
Thank
Lantern
you.
lore. Except I
Yeah.
love what Jeremy Adams is doing with the Green Lanterns. I just think Hickman would be like Jeff Johns level of Green Lantern story
Yes.
building without going as like weird and different like Grant Morrison did, which was a little bit too much
Right.
for me.
Right. So that's what I would do. The other one I got is I would like to see Tom Taylor do that whole Dark Knight's Metal Saga instead of Scott Snyder.
Oh,
And I still enjoy that era, but it was it lacked cohesion, or I should say there was like nuggets of gold, but it was too spread out amongst different titles, like in different reading orders. And Scott Snyder made it really weird. Like it got too weird sometimes. Just like too much weirdness.
I love Scott Snyder's just like, let's make everything super cool. And I was like, all right, I'm with you. I'm with you, Snyder. Let's do it. Yeah.
Especially death metal though, when like the Batman Who Laughs turns into some cosmic figure. Because like I think if it was Tom Taylor who oversaw that, did a lot of the writing, I think the Batman Who Laughs would have such a higher legendary status as a comic villain. I think because it was a little messy, he didn't get what he deserved because he's a great villain. That's a really cool idea for a villain and that whole saga. And Tom Taylor kind of brings this like perfect balance of character work and oh shit moments and this flow to his stories and a really cool use of character powers. Like he just does all these things so well. And I think
I love Tom Taylor. Deceased is like my favorite series of all time.
Same.
Yeah, Deceased
love
is amazing.
Deceased.
If I hear Tom Taylor's on anything, I'm picking it up.
Yeah. Have you ever read Tom Taylor books that you didn't love?
I don't think so. I loved his Nightwing, his Dark Knights of Steel. He did recent Children of the Round Table. His detective comics has been decent. It hasn't been like mind blowing, but it hasn't been bad.
Good enough. And I'm glad they brought Shannon back on art for that. I think that's a solid duo.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Some of his drawing in Rebirth was some of my favorite Batman drawings. Anyway, yeah, though that's pretty fun there. So that's what we would do. All right, let's get into the Ultimates. Well, I guess we're just doing absolutes. You don't read the Ultimates much, do you?
No, I've read all the Ultimate Universe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's the only Marvel that I really read is all the Ultimate Universe. I'm fully caught up.
Gotcha. And I don't care about spoilers. You're going to be way ahead of me because you read singles, but you could spill it all to me. However, it's coming out in singles now. I could still enjoy stories when I get it spoiled. Like half the time, I like the book or the movie the second time around the most anyway. Like I really don't care. Okay. But so I'm basically caught up to what trades have come out. Ultimates Volume 1, 2, Ultimate Wolverine 1, Spider-Man up to Volume 4 or something like that. There's one more volume of that left. So I'm really curious what you think of how it's ending. How many issues are there left?
It's over. It ended with 24.
It's ended.
Yeah.
Was it a satisfying conclusion?
Yes, it was I would say that last volume that you haven't read yet, that like last little arc it's been really kind of slow since the Craven arc. It's been really
Yeah.
slow and steady and just that last 24th issue, one of the best issues that came out that month. Like it was just
Nice.
phenomenal ending. The writing by Hickman, the like final scenes by Kaketo. He takes the whole "with great power comes great responsibility" line and just flips it on its head in the best way possible. It's phenomenal writing in that last issue.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And sad to see it end. They're not even continuing the title, right? It's not like a new writer's coming on.
Ultimate Universe is done. I don't know why.
Well, Endgame is happening, right? That's going to cap it off, or has that already happened?
It's 2 issues, and I think there's 4 total.
How are we liking that?
The first issue was good, which sucks because it's Dennis Camp, and I love Dennis Camp, and he's never written anything bad, and you could tell a lot of Endgame is editorial, which really sucks because it's really hindering his ability to write.
Yeah.
Especially with the Ultimates, which has had a good issue literally every single issue. The Ultimates has not slowed down at all. It's been perfect. But Ultimate Endgame is just that second issue.
Damn.
I didn't hate it, but it was just very like meh. And
Okay.
it feels like they're rushing the end of this universe just to do it, and that kind of sucks.
That does suck. I thought Hickman was coming off of Spider-Man so he could write Ultimate Endgame.
That's what I thought too. Since he started the universe, I thought maybe he'd be finishing it.
Right.
But no, I think even if it was Hickman, I don't think it would be any better just because you could tell it's not Dennis Camp that's making it kind of whack. It's Marvel editorial.
It's like one of the worst things in the modern age is editorial and freaking notes, hampering creative flow, organic creative flow. That just sucks because I feel like Marvel and DC both let their writers cook for much longer back in the day, a couple decades ago.
I think that's where the Absolute Universe excels over the Ultimate Universe is you can tell that there's a lot of creative freedom within the teams that are working on their books. Like
yes, you could
Dennis
totally
Camp has
tell.
full creative freedom over Martian Manhunter. Lemire is doing his own thing with Flash. Ewing's doing his own thing with Green Lantern. It all feels like they're allowed whatever they want to do in it. And then when they're time to cross over, they kind of just collaborate instead of forcing it, which I think is really cool.
You could totally tell the difference. Yeah. The Absolute books all feel like so much their own story. Like the writers were totally able to cook and like taking crazy swings, like doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Like really like gnarly stuff sometimes too. Like some of the Batman stuff, some of that body horror is so grotesque and like just absolutely wild. Before we get into DC though, so with Ultimates, Spider-Man's probably the best title out of all of them, right? Maybe Ultimates.
The Ultimates for sure, because Spider-Man had that bit where it was just really really slow.
True.
And they took Kaketo off and everything. Ultimates has been great all the way through. I'm a big fan of Ultimate Wolverine. A lot of people don't like it.
Okay.
I personally think it's really good. I don't really like Ultimate X-Men. It's just not my vibe. I've read it all. It's good story-wise. It's just really hard to follow for me. And then Ultimate Black Panther was one of those books that was like, it had a really good story. It was just taking too long to get to it. Like it felt like every issue needed like 3 or 4 more pages, and we finally reached this climax, and then the series ended. And it's like why couldn't we have done this like 6 issues prior so we could get more story?
Yeah, I didn't hear much good about the X-Men, so I never actually picked up the Ultimate X-Men or Ultimate Black Panther. So I don't know if you've read that and you like that, but I heard mixed reviews on that one.
On which one?
Black Panther.
Oh, that's the one I was just talking about.
Oh, I thought you were talking about X-Men.
Oh, no, X-Men was just the one where I was just like, meh. Black Panther was really good. It just felt like it was short, like every issue. Like it needed more to it. Okay.
You still recommend picking it up, though?
Yeah, no, it's really, really good. I honestly think it better in trade, probably, because you'll be able to read the whole story without waiting a month for just another short little piece of the puzzle.
Gotcha. That's why I like trades. I've tried to almost get into singles, but then I don't like it as much. I'm like, I'm really into trades, but then you just have to wait to be a part of the conversation. So that sucks, but not that much. There's plenty of trades to catch up on for the last 30, 40 years anyway. So Ultimate's your favorite, Spider-Man and then Wolverine, top 3 for sure.
Yeah.
That sounds about right for the Ultimates. Absolute Universe. I'm curious because there is a lot of differing opinions on this one, like which one's the best, and that's great because they're all really good. I have not read the Flash. I have not read the Green Lantern, but I read everything else that's come out in trade. So, is Absolute Batman your favorite, or is one of the other characters?
I mean, it sucks because like when I say I'm biased, I love Absolute Batman because I'm a huge Batman fan, and you just took everything cool about Batman and then just made it even more epic. You added like super insane villains and these like the axe on the chest and the the batarang gun, and there's just so much cool stuff in Absolute Batman, and it's just amazing storytelling. And then you go over to Wonder Woman, which has just beautiful art, amazing storytelling, and it coming off of main continuity Wonder Woman, it's such a refreshing take. Like it feels more like Wonder Woman than her main continuity
It
counterpart,
does. It
which
totally
really should not be the case, but it is because Kelly Thompson's phenomenal. And then you get to like Superman, which is just this like that one's like crazy. There's like it's complete different
Crazy.
telling of Superman and his villains. Martian Manhunter's this social commentary with some of the most beautiful, trippy like arts and colors you've ever seen in your life. Flash is this story of anxiety and acceptance and family. And then you have Green Lantern, which is like another kind of like cosmic body horror, like religion. Like it's so the lore in Absolute Green Lantern just builds every issue. Every single series is phenomenal. But if I had to rank them, it would probably go Batman, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, Superman, Green Lantern, Flash.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't read Green Lantern and Flash. They're always the bottom two.
Yeah, but
But
they're the
being
bottom
the
two
bottom
because you're
two-
being compared to 10 out of 10.
Oh, great stuff.
They're both like 8. They're like, I'd say Green Lantern's like an 8.5 out of 10. Flash is like a 7.5 out of 10.
Fair enough. So I need to pick up those two. Yeah. I listen to opinions too much, man. That's why the online's bad for you. I'm like, this doesn't have like these astounding. Everyone's not on board with this, like Batman, Wonder Woman, even Superman. Though I felt like that had some mixed reception as well, and that I think I like that one more than the Batman one. Superman's really good.
Yeah, no, I like Superman.
Batman is shining because there's like, I mean, a lot of shock value. I'd say most shock value for Batman, like body horror, violent action. Wonder Woman, the strength there is kind of a balance of everything. There's plenty of shock value, but it feels so naturally like a Wonder Woman comic. And it's so full of wisdom. Her dialogue in there is so great. Kelly Thompson is
Amazing.
really killing it with that. Not only the dialogue, but just a very engaging story. And then Superman is kind of like shock value. I think the best art out of the three, really cool looking art by Sandoval. Very impactful action. Like Batman's is body horror and violent shock factor. The Superman action is very like high octane, and the story of Ra's al Ghul, all that's very interesting. Martian Manhunter, beautifully done, philosophically and artistically. Reminds me of Silver Surfer Black. Is that the same artist or no?
On who?
You might not know. Silver Surfer Black. It used a very like abstract, trippy kind of cartoonish art.
Oh, I think that was crap. What's his name? It's not Javier Rodriguez. It's
different artist.
dang,
Okay.
I'm blanking on his name, but he does like that super trippy style. Yeah, I'm blanking on it.
For sure. Tell me a little bit about what the Flash and Green Lantern ones are about.
Flash is weird. They kind of switched it up, and Eleanor Thawne is like outfitting the rogues with their powers and trying to get connected to another realm where the Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne, her grandfather, is like trapped in. Wally is like in an explosion that connects him to this speed force of this universe and Barry dies, but really he's trapped in this. It's a lot. It's weird because it definitely has the worst pacing of all of the series for which is crazy for a Flash book. It's so slow, but it does have its good moments. So I would definitely catch up on it. Green Lantern though is a better slow burn. Like the Flash, it feels slow for no reason. Green Lantern feels slow on purpose. Like you're slowly unraveling this mystery of, how the lanterns work in this universe, and each one's connected to like a different level of enlightenment depending on the color that you are. Like whether you're red, that one's like red is like yellow is like full knowledge, green is like the ability to, it has something to do with will as well. There's a lot of really cool like aspects to it. It's hard to explain. Al Ewing definitely explains it better. But there's a lot of cool action. It's very anime-esque, I would say. Like it has like that over the top like manga style.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. I kind of see comics going towards a kind of anime action direction. I feel like there's a lot more power blasts meeting each other in the middle and stuff. And because anime is getting more and more popular, so of course some of that style will bleed into comics, and rightfully so. That you can easily bleed a lot of that style into comics, and it worked just fine. Okay, so I would probably have Wonder Woman at top, Superman next, especially after finishing Volume 2. That got really hot and heavy when Ra's al Ghul full on attacks Kansas.
Oh yeah,
thought that was pretty epic. Then Batman right below that, and then Martian Manhunter. And we'll see about the rest. But the capes, why are there like these crazy overpowered capes in the Absolute Universe? Batman and Superman both have these wild capes that are so different. It's just strange to think that someone in the writer room was like, let's focus on the capes for these guys and change up the capes. Never would have thought of that, but they're really cool and different. Do you like both of them? Do you have a preference?
I love them both. Yeah, I think I think the writers' room wasn't necessarily like let's focus on the capes, and more like how can we make every aspect of all these characters freaking awesome. And then they did it. The dust of Krypton as the cape. It's like a artificial intelligence. That's Superman's cape, and then Batman is literally like a wired kind of retractable cape, like bat arms are, like their wings, which is insanely creative. And then having cool. Wonder Woman have the really missing arm and that kind of like play off the magic aspect, and it's so cool.
And how she's actually using magic like a Zatanna character. You know, Wonder Woman in the Prime DC doesn't like use magic. She's attached to magic, and she kind of does a little Justice League dark stuff sometimes, sure. But like magic, and
she doesn't actively like cast spells. Language.
Yeah.
Absolute Woman's out here like literally casting spells like every issue, which is so cool.
It is really cool.
Then she's got the giant sword, the bone Pegasus. Like,
You didn't happen to play Elden Ring, did you?
I did not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me neither. I would never play that game.
I've heard it's good. I just haven't gotten around to it.
It's a great game. Probably my favorite game ever. But I think there's a lot of Elden Ring styles, not purposefully, but Elden Ring style kind of bleeding in there with these crazy villains just bought, like Bane turning into just a glob of death, giant swords, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So is the Absolute Universe supposed to end after DCKO, or is it supposed to keep going?
Oh, it's going. I just saw recently that Nick Dragotta says that if it keeps going, he wants to draw Absolute Batman for 100 issues.
Nice.
Snyder said he'll write it as long as they want him to. He said after DCKO, they have one more big event as a part of their Dark Side thing, which is going to be probably Absolute Crisis in 2027. But after that, he's solely focusing on Absolute Batman. So we can expect a whole bunch from this entire. It sucks that Martian Manhunter's ending at 12. That does suck because I love Dennis Camp and I love Martian Manhunter. But it's going to go as long as the creative teams want to do it.
Yeah. Out of all the characters, Martian Manhunter is definitely the most different from his prime DC self.
For sure.
So bizarre. And I kind of understand why that would end at 12, because I don't see how that doesn't feel like a long form story to be told. It feels like it has a message to tell you. It did that really well in Volume 1, but it's like unless you have a 6-issue arc that has a message the way Volume 1 did, it just makes sense to stop that. But that's me talking about it without having read, the contents after Volume 1.
Yeah, the second arc, you think like, how could they do more? And then they continue to do it perfectly.
Gotcha.
It's phenomenal. Gotcha. And the reason why they're stopping isn't because there's no more story to tell. Apparently, DC said, Dennis Camp, Javier Rodriguez, if you want to come back and continue to do Martian Manhunter, the spot is always open. But they offered them something that they couldn't turn down, which hasn't been revealed yet. But I really, really think I think it's Doom Patrol.
Oh, okay.
Which would be, man. Because that would be right up Dennis Camp's alley, and Javier Rodriguez is like the trippy storytelling, the commentaries, and it's super legendary title to get because you're following people like Grant Morrison, Keith Giffen, Gerard Way. So I think that's the only one that Dennis Camp would take over Absolute Martian Manhunter.
If DC called you right now and said, we're hiring you to write a book, and they offered you Martian Manhunter or Doom Patrol, wouldn't you take Martian Manhunter?
With Absolute or Doom Patrol?
Anything, just in general.
Oh, just regular March Madness. I mean, yeah, I would take it, but I mean, I'm not Dennis
Sounds
Camp.
right, right, right.
Dennis
He's done a
Camp's
lot. Yeah.
yeah, he's a master storyteller, and I think he'd be able to tell some amazing stories through Doom Patrol.
Yeah. All right, then let's wrap it up with one more topic, DCKO. This is
Mhm.
one I've heard so much great hype about. Can't wait for the trade. I almost want to just go buy the singles because it sounds so cool. But this is the Prime DC universe facing off against the Absolute universe, correct?
Uh, Not really, kind of, a little bit. The whole event is about Darkseid has risen to like his most powerful form. He's got like the powers of the Spectre. He's wiping out all of time basically from the front and the back, and it's all converging on this one time. Like the timeline's burning at the seams. And this tournament is to accumulate enough Omega energy to defeat Darkseid and put the world back the way it is. So heroes, villains, they're all fighting this big tournament trying to accumulate this energy to become King Omega, defeat Darkseid, and save reality. In round 4, though, Darkseid brings in his minions to fight the main universe people, which is the Absolute Trinity and Booster Gold, who he is controlling. And it's a really cool showdown. The 5th issue was insane. We're leading up to an absolute crisis. Darkseid has like control over like every Earth except for Prime Earth. So that's going to be insane. I'm excited to see what they do.
I like that format of an event leading to a bigger event. So DCKO and then Absolute Crisis.
Yeah, which isn't confirmed the name, but that's what they
okay.
At the book. Darkseid says we're leading up to a crisis of absolute proportions, which is like pretty obvious what it's going to be called.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. You always wonder how they're going to incorporate Crisis into the next title, and that's a perfect one. Absolute Crisis. Yeah. And before this, years past, I've been like kind of underwhelmed with Darkseid as a major villain. Final Crisis is good, but not like my favorite. It's like my favorite Darkseid is almost just New 52. You know, even their
the Darkseid War and stuff like that,
and the Darkseid War.
Yeah.
So I've been waiting for DC to do a major Darkseid event to really establish him as this like DC's big bad villain.
This is the one. DCKO was
that's exciting.
Phenomenal. Every issue was like oh my god, and all the tie-ins and battles, and it was so much fun.
Nice. I can't wait. It comes out in August for trade, and it's just 6 issues, right?
5. It's only 5.
5 issues.
Yeah, I mean the trade might include some tie-ins. I'm not sure, but
and how much did the Prime DC universe like? How much attention was there on the Prime versus the Absolutes?
It was pretty much the whole 4th issue it was the final 4. It was Superman, Batman, or Superman, Joker, Wonder Woman, and Lex Luthor. But then Joker got eliminated, and it was Batman. Batman came back, and it was those 4 against Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman, and Booster Gold. But he's being controlled by Darkseid, so it's really Darkseid in Booster Gold's body. Epic fight scenes. Batman versus Absolute Batman was one of the coolest things ever.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
They make Batman at one point like makes a joke about Absolute Batman's like oversized bat symbol. He's like, "That's the ugliest bat symbol I've ever seen."
Yeah,
there's a lot of really great stuff in that issue. So if I would recommend, I would pick up the singles and catch up, just because waiting till August, it's that.
I know
you don't want to wait till
too
August.
Long. It's already over. Like usually it comes out quicker than that. Did they make a one or the other Batman stand out as dominant, or did they do a good job making him feel dead even?
They're pretty even, because while regular Batman is definitely like obviously has the experience, these 3 Absolute versions were imbued with the power of Darkseid, the Omega energy. So it made them more powerful enough to rival the main continuity counterparts. But no, they made them pretty even. They made Wonder Woman stronger than Absolute Wonder Woman, Superman stronger than Absolute Superman. But Batman and Absolute Batman were pretty neck and neck.
Okay. And do you think Prime Universe and Absolute Universe will have to team up to beat Darkseid, or will it be a little more complex than that?
I have no idea. I mean, at this point, I'm led to believe that the Absolute Universe is under the control of Darkseid, but I would love to see the Absolute Universe team up with Prime Earth against Darkseid and the other Earths, but I guess we'll have to see. We did get a little team up moment in it before Darkseid literally killed all of them.
Nice. Because it makes sense if he's in control of the Absolute Universe, because it is so dark. DC's always said to be dark, but the Absolute one is like it's like
Mhm.
it's
I
like
mean, it's built
gnarly,
off of Omega energy. It's all Dark Side's energy that it's built off
for
of.
sure. Yeah, you do see that theme playing out through a lot of those titles. Right on. Well, hey, that wraps it up. Unless you got anything else.
Sweet. Oh yeah, no, I'm
Right
good.
on.
Yeah, it was a great episode. Thanks.
Thank you so much for coming on, dude. I can't wait to see how that comic does. And again, this is at The Cosmic Collector on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, anything else.
Twitch. I'm also on Twitch if you want to watch me game.
Nice. What are you gaming recently?
I just downloaded the new WWE game because I've been seeing everyone playing it, and I was like, I got to give it a go. It's pretty fun. It's what I was playing before I hopped on.
Did you like WWE as a kid?
Oh yeah, I was huge wrestling. I'm not as much into it
Yeah.
anymore, but the games are still pretty fun.
Yeah, I cannot watch it anymore, but I loved it as a kid. You know, you had your Steve Austin and stuff like that, Brock Lesnar. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again for coming on, dude. And thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time on Why So City, a Nerd.